All right, let's talk about something that drives home buyers crazy. You know the feeling, right? You find the perfect house, you put in a solid offer, and then you lose out to a cash buyer. It is so frustrating. But what if I told you there's a way you could become one of them? In this explainer, we're going to break down this really powerful strategy that lets you make an all-cash offer, even if you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars just sitting in the bank. So let's see how it all works. So just to set the stage here, you got to understand the market we're in. Right now, nearly a third of all homes are bought with straight-up cash. Think about that. That means in any bidding war, there's a pretty good chance you're going up against somebody who doesn't need a mortgage, doesn't need a bank's permission. They just write a check. And here is the real kicker. A study from Redfin found that if you make an all-cash offer, you are 4 times more likely to win that bidding war. 4 times. That's not a small advantage. That's a game changer. And it's exactly why sellers absolutely love them. Okay, so that brings us to our first section, what we're calling the cash buyer problem. This is really the heart of the frustration for anyone who needs financing. You do everything right, you find the house, you make a great offer, and you still get beat. So why does this keep happening? Well, why do sellers love cash so much, sometimes even more than a higher offer that has a mortgage attached? It really just boils down to 3 things: speed, certainty, and simplicity. You see, with a cash offer, there's no risk that the buyer's loan is going to fall through at the last minute. There's no waiting around for a bank appraisal. The whole thing can close so much faster. For a seller, it's just, well, it's easier and a whole lot safer. So that's the problem. But what if you could give a seller all of those benefits without actually having a giant pile of cash in your bank account? Well, that's where these new services come into play, which brings us to our next section, how you can become a cash buyer. So what on earth is a cash offer program? Well, to put it simply, it's a service where a company basically steps in, buys your dream home with their cash, and then you turn around and buy it back from them using the mortgage you already got approved for. It's a way to level that playing field. I love this analogy. It's kind of like having a rich uncle or a business partner who can just swoop in and write a check for the house right on the spot. The company is basically that partner. They put up the cash to win the bid, and then you come in right behind them with the long-term financing to buy the house from them. Pretty clever, right? Okay, so it sounds great in theory, but how does this actually work in the real world? Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the mechanics of the deal, and really look at the step-by-step process. So the secret to understanding all this is that it's not just one purchase. The whole thing is actually split into 2 separate key transactions, and that's what makes it all possible. Let's break that down. So first, you got transaction 1. The program company uses its money to buy the home from the seller. It's a clean, simple, all-cash deal. Done. Then comes transaction 2. You step in and buy that same exact house from the program company using your pre-approved mortgage. It's basically just a clean transfer of ownership. So here's what your journey would look like step by step. First, you get fully approved for both the cash program and your final mortgage. That's key. Second, you go find a house you love, and the company makes that all-cash offer for you. Third, they buy the home. Now, here's a huge perk. At step 4, you can often move in right away, before your own mortgage has even finalized. And then finally, step 5, you close on your mortgage, and you officially buy the home back from the company. It's yours. Now, this all sounds pretty amazing, but let's be real. It's not a free service. So what's the catch? In this next section, we're going to pull back the curtain and break down exactly what this kind of power costs. What you're really paying for here is a massive, massive competitive advantage. You're buying certainty in a market that is anything but certain. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what is that certainty worth to you? Generally speaking, the cost is going to come in 2 main parts. First, there's a service fee for using the program. And second, there's what's called a rent-back fee for the time that the company owns the home before you officially buy it back. So that service fee is just a percentage of the home's price, and it can vary. But here's something really interesting. Because your cash offer is so strong, you might actually be able to negotiate with the seller to have them cover some or even all of this fee through what they call concessions, basically credits they give you at closing. Okay, next up is that rent-back fee. While the company technically owns the house, you're basically leasing it from them. And as you can see from these examples, for a $500,000 home, that might be around $2,800 a month. This just covers the company's costs for holding onto the property while you're getting your mortgage finalized. And don't worry, you're not getting a monthly rent bill in the mail.
The cost is actually calculated on a daily basis, and then the total amount just gets rolled into your closing costs when you buy the home back. And that whole process usually happens within 60 days. All right, so we've covered what this program is, how it works, and how much it costs. Now for the most important question of all. Is it the right move for you? So let's take a look at the key requirements. So, are you eligible? That's the big question. This table lays out some of the typical requirements. You're generally going to need a minimum credit score of around 620. You'll also need some cash for earnest money, about 5% for a conventional loan, but check this out. Only 1.5% for a VA loan, which is a fantastic benefit for our veterans. And then, of course, you've got to meet the down payment rules for your specific mortgage. When you boil it all down, it really comes to this simple trade-off. On one side, you get the incredible power of a cash offer. You can win bidding wars, maybe even negotiate a better price. You can even buy your new home before you sell your old one. But on the other side, there's the cost, the fees you're going to pay for that huge advantage. And that brings us to the final question, and it's one that only you can answer. In a market this competitive, is paying that premium worth it to guarantee you win your dream home? It's a really powerful tool to have in your back pocket, and now you know exactly how it works.